Hello, I'm so sorry that you were sitting in there for so long. I was having some issues with my Zoom.
Oh no, that's all right. That's fine. I figured there was a technical issue. How
Yeah,
are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
So let me give you host abilities here. Okay, you should be able to share if you want to go ahead and test out your slides, and I'm going to let everyone in if you're ready to get going.
Yeah, yep, I'm just gonna go ahead and post my slides now or in just a second.
Okay.
Mhm.
And hi, everybody. Sorry for the late start. We were having some technical difficulties, but thank you for joining. I'm going to go ahead and give um, and share the check-in code for handshake. So if you wouldn't mind just taking a quick moment to scan that QR code, or I'll put the link in the chat for you, just to make sure that you are officially checked in for this event. If you need verification of attending certain events for any sort of programs, get um, you'll get a confirmation email. Sorry about that. Tricia, you should be able to share now. You'll get a confirmation email to verify your attendance by checking in. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so that Tricia can get started here and go ahead and go over the content, and I'll put the link of how to check in handshake in the chat.
Um, I'm not sure if you have to make me a co-host because I definitely still can't share my presentation.
Oh no. All of the settings are there.
Nope, let me see. Maybe now.
Okay,
Hold
try.
on. How about that?
Yes, there you go.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, well then I'm all ready to go.
Yes, go for it.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Trisha Cole. I'm actually the one of the admissions counselors here at Rosalind Franklin University. So I'm excited to talk to you all. I know we get a lot of interest from UCF students, and so I'm here to talk to you about a little bit about our school, but mostly to provide you with some tools and resources and how to prepare for your interviews when it's time to interview. But just to go over a little information about Rosalind Franklin University. So we're located in North Chicago, Illinois. And we have many programs, which I'll go over in a second, but mainly we're the first university named after a female scientist, which is something we're very proud of. We definitely believe in the potential of every individual, as you can see, just what one person did for healthcare. And we use her Photo 51 as our logo, which is something I'm sure you've noticed. But basically, Rosalind Franklin embodies a lot of the tenets and the core values that we have at this institution, including one of innovation. But you'll learn a little bit more in just a second. So we actually have 6 colleges at Rosalind Franklin University. The largest college is the Chicago Medical School, which I'm sure if some of you have heard of. If not, you will when you start looking at medical school applications with the AAMC. The second largest college actually on our campus is the College of Health Professions. And that's where we actually house our physician assistant program, our doctor of physical therapy program, our pathologist assistant program, and our clinical psychology program. So it's our second largest college. We also have a College of Nursing that does Masters of Entry into Nursing Practice. We also offer advanced nursing degrees, like if you wanted to get your DNP in psychiatric mental health or your Doctor of Nurse Practitioner, or if you wanted to get your Doctor of Nurse Practitioner in CRNA, which is basically a nurse anesthetist. So those are just 3 of those colleges. We also have a College of Pharmacy, the Dr. William Scholl College of Podiatric Medicine, and also our School of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies. So essentially, all of these 6 colleges make up Rosalind Franklin, and you'll notice that we are a graduate school only that focuses in teaching the health sciences. So a few of our core values, like I mentioned before, one was innovation, but we obviously, these are the core values that really make up the institution. How we teach, how we create an environment so that you feel that you belong and that you're able to thrive and also, learn everything that you need to make that impact in the health sciences. So, collaboration is key. One of the main words that you'll hear over and over is interprofessionalism, because you actually get to learn with all the different healthcare programs. So if you're in the medical school program, you'll be in a class, an interprofessionalism class, and in small groups, you'll have someone from physician assistant and from physical therapy and from nursing and, podiatry, pharmacy, and so on, so that you all gain each other's perspectives, which is, really a wonderful opportunity for you at this institution because you're working as a team when you go into the healthcare field. We also very much believe in excellence, respect, justice, and scholarship, which is why we're also a large research institution. So a little bit about the difference between, individual, learning and also team-based learning, right? You still get a good sense of like how to work with a team, but you have an unbalanced workload, and sometimes that work, affects your efficiency. And, your decision making is probably not as strong as well because having different perspectives gives you a better understanding of what the right path might be for the decision for your future patient, right? And so you have a better concept of teamwork. You're able to share information. That's that collaboration. We want to talk about improvement, a balanced workload, and efficiency. And so actually there's studies that show that an interprofessionalism or team-based type of environment in healthcare has lowered readmission rates in like the 30%, in the mid to high 30%. So that is a benefit of having this type of environment because you're already used to that type of environment as you get into the healthcare field. We also have a wonderful campus community. We have 90 plus student organizations that you can get involved with. We do value your health and well-being, so we actually have a 24/7 fitness area, 2 actually, that you can go to, one with a studio where you can do a lot of different classes. We host different classes, and also another location with, weights and treadmills and everything that you would need. In addition to that, within our building, we also have a nap room, we have a prayer room, we have an actual doctor's office on campus too. So if you're not feeling so well, if you need to get something done, it's very convenient. You just go down to the lower student level and there everything is right at your fingertips. We also have on and near campus housing available. They're like 3-minute walk from the building on either side of the building. So it's very convenient in terms of your education and being able to access campus and also go back home if you need to have that break. We do also like to highlight the therapy dog visits. They're something that's like really popular on campus and they're here very often. So we take into account what you would need for your wellness. We also take into feedback of what you would like to see for your wellness. And these are great highlights of our institution. We also want to create a sense of community. So we have 30 plus different student organizations culturally focused that you can get involved with as well, or create new, culturally focused programs on campus if you'd like to. We have many celebrations throughout the year, and it's really great to get involved and see those different types of communities. Our location, as I mentioned before, we are in a suburban area. So we're North Chicago. We're not in the inner city of Chicago. We're in the suburbs. So we're 36 miles north of Chicago, 58 miles south of Milwaukee. So we're actually right in between. This is a beach that's located nearby. So we're next to Lake Bluff, lots of hiking, biking trails. If you wanted to, say, for example, live in Chicago or even visit Chicago, we're about I would say like a 5 to 7 minute drive to the nearest metro station. We actually have a shuttle bus for those who want to commute. If you want to live in the city, there's a metro train that comes up to campus. We have a shuttle bus operated by security that will come and pick you up from the train station, bring you to the main entrance of campus, and then when you're done, take you back to the train stop so that you can get back into the city or visit or whatever you're doing. But either way, even with, car transportation, both of these major cities are very easily accessible. And then the majority of you who would have to do clinical rotations would do them in downtown Chicago. And we have lots of dining and recreational opportunities as well. We do like to focus on serving our community. So there's lots of opportunities for you to get involved. One of them is our mobile health clinic that will offer, blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol checks, flu shots, and things like that, which I'm sure you're familiar with. And so we want to continue that type of, altruism and impacting our local communities within our school. We also have different types of clinical opportunities, and some of them are still also with the local community, is what I would say. So, for example, in your clinical opportunities early in your education, you get access to standardized patients, right? So you can practice all of that. You can work with our interprofessional community clinic, which is our student-run free clinic near campus. That's the ICC. And that's the clinic that serves the underserved, underrepresented community that's around this area. So you have a lot of opportunity for you to start practicing. We love to take volunteers as often as possible. And a lot of the students here in many different programs actually become leads for the interprofessional community clinic. So, different services, general medicine to social services, obviously. And this is a great opportunity like for interprofessionalism because say maybe you're a medical school student and you see a patient and they need medication. Well, our pharmacy students are right there as well in the same building to continue helping patients and working together as a team. We have lots of clinical rotations, so we are able to get you an extensive network of clinical partners. You have access to that. Again, the majority of your, for example, required core rotations for medical school students, PA, DPT, so on, you'll do them in downtown Chicago area, but we don't like to have you more than 45 minutes outside the radius of campus. What's beneficial about us is that you actually get to, customize your rotation experience because we have contacts with so many different hospitals. So if you want a level 1 trauma center, maybe for your ER rotation, downtown Chicago, great, you have that opportunity. Do you want to see something more community-based in a suburban area? We have you. We have lots of contracts with Northwestern, Rush, Stroger, the Cook County Hospital, and so on. Maybe you want to see something more rural. We have access to that as well. So again, it is probably closer to like 45 minutes away from this campus, but we can get you those opportunities so that you can see the different types of medicine or healthcare that you would be involved in through your clinical rotations. Lots of these programs also have rotations, elective rotations that you can do outside of the state. And since we have such a large alumni network through all of our different programs, we can help you with those as well. A little bit about research, which is something I also mentioned. We do a heck of a lot of research on our campus. We actually have a brand new building, which I'm sure it'll show in the next slide. But we have 40 plus different research labs. We spend a lot of money in terms of the kind of research that we're doing and establishing different types of patents and obviously grants for these patents. But you'll see different types of areas of research that we focus on and where those core facilities are. This is the Innovation and Research Park where we do all of our research. So we actually opened to grandstand in spring of 2020. Yay! Virtual ribbon cutting for our research facility. But we have a state-of-the-art lab because it's so new. The benefit of the fact that we are a research campus is that we really do recruit and retain top scientists here. And those scientists are your faculty members and they'll be able to teach you, especially those who are interested in research. Don't worry, many of the programs that we have here, if you're not interested in research, that's fine. It's just an opportunity for those who are interested. But even if you're not interested, you get the benefit of having these top faculty members coming to and teach you, promoting research synergy and efficiency within our departments, and really just providing a great environment for you as an RFU student or a future RFU student. A little bit about our reputation. Our pass rate is typically for most of the board exams above the national average. Obviously, every year there's some differences in the numbers, but we do list all of our board exam pass rates on our website, so you're welcome to look at every single one of them. And obviously, 97% of our students feel they have a comprehensive understanding of interprofessionalism, so how deeply ingrained this is in our culture. And that's a little bit about the institution itself. So I'm going to switch gears and use the rest of this time to kind of talk about our interview styles. And I know that this is something that you're all wanting to be familiar with, or should be familiar with as you move on to, after you submit your applications and you start getting those interview invites, how to be ready for an interview. So a lot of this information, I want to say, just keep in mind that I'm talking about this through the RFU lens, right? From our perspective in terms of essential prep strategies. But a lot of this information is going to be similar for a lot of the different programs that you're applying to and will apply. So I want to talk a little bit about the difference between a traditional interview style and an MMI style and what you can expect and how to prepare for those. So familiar territory, traditional interview, right? Traditional interviews, I mean, it's like a job interview, right? You meet with an individual, you have a conversation, maybe they ask you a few questions. Well, they definitely will. You might ask a few questions, and then you just get to know each other in that type of situation. So why do schools do a traditional interview? Well, we know it, right? It's easier for us to implement this. There isn't too much planning that needs to go into a traditional one-on-one interview. It allows you to have a fluid conversation. The interviewer gets to know you. They give you a chance to get to know them, and they can really focus on what they want to learn about from you, right? So the one-on-ones, like they might have specific questions. A lot of them could be, behavioral type questions, or tell me a little bit about yourself. Why are you interested in this program? Those are typical what you would see from a one-on-one interview, and they might have follow-up questions to something that they just asked. So, for example, they might ask you about something that was in your personal statement, and then can you follow up on that a little bit more? So they can really get into more detail if they wanted to. You could have experience one traditional interview or two during your interview day. Most programs won't have you do more than two one-on-one interviews because they're typically about a half an hour each. And the good thing about them is they can be rearranged or rescheduled if needed, right? It's easy to do that versus an MMI. And there are various ways a traditional interview can be conducted. It's not always just one-on-one. You could be meeting with a faculty member or a community member or a staff member one-on-one, or you could have a panel interview with a few individuals in a room, talking to you, or you could possibly be meeting with a current student as well. So there's flexibility in how you interview and who you will meet. So that's why schools do a traditional interview. So how do you prepare for one? First things first is practicing, right? The same thing that you might have experienced with a job interview. So, you want to be able to get the opportunity to talk to someone to get over those jitters of nervousness. What do I say? How do I talk about myself? So if career office offers these services to do a mock interview, you really want to utilize them, right? To have that practice, because repetition is key in terms of feeling more comfortable. And even going to presentations like this where they give you some more information, that's beneficial for you, because you can kind of take some, I guess, I'm like skipping on the word. but you can take suggestions from one school and take suggestions from another school and kind of see where your balance is. Now, the point about practicing is to be able to time yourself. 30 minutes can be a really long time, or sometimes for some people, it can be a really short amount of time. It just depends on how much you speak. Some are very comfortable and say a lot for one question, and some don't say much at all. And so you get through a lot more questions. So, where's the balance, and how do you feel comfortable in those situations? Maybe you say too much and your conversation is a little bit too jumpy and you don't actually finish answering the question. So this is why you want to practice speaking. Practice internally timing yourself so that you understand maybe I'm coming close to my 30 minutes, because you might not have access to a clock or a watch to be able to see yourself and time yourself. So that's why practice becomes essential. So role playing is good. This is again where you can use your career services, or you can grab a friend and you can practice with each other. You can have questions. A lot of them are online. I will give you resources for some, auto-generated questions, and you can engage in this. So role playing is ideal. Maybe you have a friend who really likes to act, and they can get you a situational question and kind of like throw their emotions around and see how you react to that. So this is also an opportunity for them to kind of to see how you present yourself. Are you able to make eye contact? What's your body language like? Did you organize the way that you answered the question and answered it completely? Was the person who was interviewing you able to, if you asked them for feedback, say, your answers were clear, concise, I had a good idea of the individual you are. Maybe they can tell you seemed a little rigid, or maybe you were too relaxed, right? So finding again that nice balance. And this is why preparation is going to be ideal for you. You want to be in the know of some topics that are happening in the world. Healthcare, maybe not. They might ask you something. It's rare that that's going to happen now. Most will not ask about specific hot topics in healthcare, but they might ask you, for example, have you had interaction with an underserved community? If you did, great, tell me a little bit more about that. If not, what might you want to learn? Or do you have any passionate commentary or passionate ideas in regards to like certain parts of healthcare that made you want to enter this field, right? So those are some things that you might want to have in the back of your mind. You want to research the school that you are interviewing with. So are you going to be able to convey that you're a candidate that aligns with what this program is looking for? A lot of ways for you to do that is to go into the school's website and go onto their mission statements and see, the kind of candidates they're looking for, what they bring to the table, what the kind of environment they're trying to create for you. And those, mission statements, if you align with them and this is something that you really believe in, then you're going to have a much easier time speaking to that school that you're interviewing with. So this is also going to help you with the type of schools that you're actually applying to. Um, but it's going to help you with your interview as well. You want to research the institution. You want to research some questions that are, maybe specific to their program, or just general questions about their program that are follow up to things that you've already found out about them, that show the interviewer that you really are interested in this. This is you're very 100% invested in this program, and this is where you want to be. You also want to review your application prior to the interview day. So interviewers, again, like I mentioned before, they might, talk about your personal statement. So interviewers might bring up something they saw in your academics. If it wasn't a blinded interview, some are semi-blinded or blinded. Or they might clarify what you said in a statement. So if they're semi-blinded, they get access to your essays. And they might say, hey, can you tell me a little bit more about this thing that I read about you? So forgetting what you said won't look great, which is why it's always beneficial, because you don't know what they're going to ask, to know what you put in the application for each institution that you apply to before you interview. So some example questions of, one-on-one interviews that you might have is, what makes you particularly interested in the school? You are probably going to be asked that all the time. So you want to have an answer, maybe not something that's completely practiced and structured, because what an interviewer is looking for is someone who's genuine and honest and transparent and also very confident in why they want to be here, not something that sounds more robotic and practiced, right? Because you should still practice, but not word for word, knowing why. Maybe how do you see the field of medicine changing in the next 10 years? How do you see yourself fitting into those changes, right? Or maybe tell me about a time when you had to compromise. This is more of like a behavioral question, when you had to work on a team and had to compromise, or maybe not. How do you respond to criticism, right? Describe a situation where your work was criticized. What was your reaction? These are some things, most of these questions are going to be based upon you, yourself, your personality. This is why practicing comes in handy, because you really get to know yourself. It's hard to talk about yourself. You're already talking about yourself in the personal statement and the essays, and now you actually have to verbalize all of that in person. So that is good for you to get to that step where you're practicing this. So now an MMI. Okay, and most of you've probably heard about an MMI, but if not, an MMI is multiple mini interviews. So why do schools use the MMI, and what is it if you're not familiar with it? So McMaster University School of Medicine created this process of like interviewing outside of a traditional one-on-one interview. They thought it wasn't as predictive of success, and the MMI format allows programs to see you in like many different scenarios, many situations. Some they might actually catch you off guard. So these MMIs are designed to measure like competencies and characteristics. The MMI is much harder to practice for, because it's really assessing like how do you react to something? How do you interact with individuals? Can you think on your feet? What are your communication skills like? And more. And it's all in a timed setting. What's beneficial about this is that it allows you to meet multiple faculty, staff, and community members, and it can help minimize biases. So how would that happen? In a traditional one-on-one interview, you might interview with one person or two. And if you had a great interview, wonderful. If you had a bad interview, that might not be so positive in terms of your acceptance into the program. And MMI can minimize that bias because most of the time you're going to meet with anywhere between like 6 to 8. Heck, I don't know how many programs, how many MMIs each program has, but it could be 6 to 8 or more, individuals that you're meeting. And these individuals, say, for example, your first MMI, you were really nervous, and the next, 5, you were fantastic. Well, that one MMI that you were really nervous, they can kind of, put that one to the side and say, this was maybe just jitters, or you just weren't really comfortable with this situation, but hey, you did like super well in all the rest of these interviews, right? So that was just an outlier. And that's how it can minimize bias. And the majority of the time for an MMI, these interviewers don't have any information about you. They just know that you're here, we're interested in you, you have met the requirements and everything else that we're looking for, and you seem like you would be a good, not necessarily fit, but you align well with the institution on paper. So now we're just getting to know you in person, and that's why it can help minimize biases. It's also more fun. So many of you probably are thinking, a 30-minute conversation with someone you don't know is not ideal, but having something like an MMI, you get to meet a lot of different individuals, and in a shorter period of time, doing different types of scenarios could be a lot more fun. It really makes the day go much faster too. So what are the logistics of an MMI? So MMIs are set up like stations. You could be doing virtual MMIs, kind of like our the Chicago Medical School and our PA program will do virtual interviews, or you could do something in person. Like for example, our physical therapy program does in-person interviews, and our nursing program does some. They do both virtual or in person, but it can vary among the programs. You can expect um, to interview again with multiple individuals in a short period of time. There are varying number of stations going on at once. Just to use an example, our physician assistant program virtually will use 8 MMI stations. And then there are 8 individuals interviewing at the same time in different breakout rooms virtually during these, 8 MMI sessions. Or during a physical therapy interview in person, we have 6 stations, and you're in person and rotating through different, tables during a specific time frame doing these MMI questions. So MMIs are timed, and that's just to give everyone an equal amount of time to review the question, an equal amount of time to answer the question, and to make the interview process move, right? So you have everybody is in a sense on the same playing field. So the expectation is that you're going to get a minute or two to read your prompt or your question and to formulate an answer. Some programs will allow you to take notes, some will not. So you want to, double check with these programs. Ours, like for example, our PA and our medical school, virtual, you can take notes. In person, yes, we give you a sheet of paper to take notes just to kind of collect your thoughts and organize yourself. After that 1 or 2 minutes is over, you then have a designated amount of time to answer the question and interact with your interviewer. So the majority of the time you'll see anywhere between like 5 or 6 minutes to kind of answer your question. So you can see now that the interviews for an MMI go by real quick. Um, Now, during this designated interview time, I know a lot of students have questions like, do I introduce myself? What do I do? Do I just go straight to answering the question? 5 minutes seems like a small amount of time. And this is where the, practice will come in to key. But remember that an MMI is still an interview. You're still interacting with another person. And it's not something that's expected for you to go through very quickly. You go at your own pace. But you want to make sure that you're still answering your questions within that allotted amount of time. And then you repeat this process until you're done with all of your stations, which you can see why this would go so quickly and why it might be fun. So how do you prepare for the MMI? Again, starting to practice now. And practicing for the MMI and individual interviews can be one and the same, right? You just need to be aware of how you're switching gears between one or the other. But you want to feel comfortable speaking about yourself, and that takes time. You don't want to leave this to the last minute, like the night before, I'm going to start studying for, how I interview and how I present myself. No. It takes time to build the confidence to do this. It takes time to build the understanding of how you convey yourself and how you answer questions, and maybe your internal clock as well. So you want to practice by timing yourself. So 5 minutes can pass really quick or really slow. Again, the same with the 30-minute. It just depends on the individual that you are. But you want to keep an eye on timing to figure out best practices for time management when speaking, right? Because 5 minutes could be a short amount of time to answer a question, or you get through it really quick and then you feel like that was over like in lightning speed. So you want to be able to utilize the majority of your time just to give yourself the best opportunity with your interviewer. You want to role play. There could be some situations where you have a student actor, or a question that kind of, throws it out there. It's just strange. So for example, we could have a student in a room that's acting like a patient, or they could be acting like a classmate who's going through a situation, and they could be like angry, they could be sad, they could be scared, and some of these student actors, I mean, they really go with it. So they're going to throw their emotions around, see how you react. And so this is why role playing is good. So you can get some situational sample questions and see how you would um, react when they throw something your way that you've not experienced yet, or maybe you have experienced and now you're interested to see how you um, really answer these questions and how you portray yourself in the situation in an interview setting. It's really hard to do this because some people don't want to see themselves on camera, but I highly suggest that you record yourself. If you record yourself answering some of these questions, some of these MMI generated questions, you can see, do I twirl my hair a lot? Am I saying a lot? Do I use my hands a significant amount of time? In person, how do I, what is my body language like? And, and that's going to help you significantly because one part of the interview is to answer the question. The other part of the interview is how you portray yourself to an individual. Are you comfortable? Are you scared? Are you anxious? And so these are the things that you want to practice. You want to participate in mock interviews if you have the opportunity. Repetition and practice is key. I mean, heck, if you even, study one MMI question a day or like answer one a day, it gives you just this practice and you start feeling more comfortable with it. So use the resources if you have them. Don't rehearse your answers. One, it's not really going to help for the MMI because you don't know what question you're going to get. And we really want to see the genuine you. The same for a traditional interview. Um, we just want to, we already are interested in you. We just now want to see, how you portray yourself in certain situations and to see if you are the kind of individual that would align with the class and the cohort and the community here at the institution that you're interviewing with. So rehearsing a specific answer is not key, but knowing points like bullet points of things that you want to say about yourself or that you know about yourself or answers that you have are good to have in your back pocket. You want to research again the school you're interviewing with because there might be an opportunity for you to have a one-on-one. For example, our physician assistant program, after your 8 MMIs, you have a 10-minute one-on-one. And so that's a good opportunity for you to talk more about the school or the program and to ask questions if you have them. And honestly, all the time, utilize your resource here, the UCF Academic Advancement Office, but ask for feedback, participate in any of the events that they have. But lastly, what I want to mention during an MMI is you want to relax. You always want to remember to stay calm. It is an interview. I know it could be high stakes for you, or it feels like high stakes for you, but we're interested in you. We just want to see how you participate in an interview. And collect yourself, stay calm, enjoy it, enjoy the process because some of these MMIs could be really fun, and especially if you're visiting on campus towards some areas and just the excitement of being invited to an interview and the possibility of being accepted into this program. So here are some example questions of maybe an MMI, right? You're shopping and notice another patron remove an item from the shelf and walk past the sales counter towards the exit. This patron walks in such a determined fashion directly towards the exit that it seems obvious that they intend to leave the store without paying for the item. Discuss the situation with the waiter. What would you do? It's a hard question. What would you do? Or maybe at the last one, discuss one of your pastimes outside of school and how the skills you acquired from this activity will help you in your career. That's more a little bit of a MMI and traditional, interview question. It could be used in both. So here are just some examples. Lastly, I wanted to post some references and tools for you. The AAMC is a great reference, and those of you who are not applying to medical school still want to use these tools because it's going to be universal for any program that uses an MMI. It just happens to be that some medical schools or medical programs have the most references, so you want to utilize that. So AMC is a good one. Vanderbilt University had a presentation, preparing applicants for the MMI. A lot of the information I put in this presentation were used from these resources, Columbia University, the Medic portal, and then the last two, like Med School Insiders and the Savvy Pre-Med, are not, sourced educational resources, but they do offer you perspective. So the Med School Insiders, MMI prep strategies from, students who went through it. And the Savvy Pre-Med, that's the one that has the interview question generator. So if you wanted to do a traditional question or an MMI question, it kind of generates the questions and you go through them. You can time yourself to just get that practice. All right. So I think that's it. Happy interviewing to you all. Hopefully those were beneficial in terms of the difference between a traditional MMI or a traditional interview and an MMI interview and how to prepare for those and what you can expect. You'll see a lot of this at our institution. I am definitely open now for the last 15 minutes for any questions. If you have something specific that you want to ask about interviewing or even our programs, I'm happy to answer them all.
Or you're welcome to put them in the chat and I'll read them for you, if that's more comfortable. In the meantime, while we wait for some questions, we do have a post-event survey that I'm going to link in the chat. If everyone could just take a minute and go ahead and fill that out, that kind of just gives us some feedback on how we're doing or things that we could do better in the future. I thought it was a great presentation, super insightful. I think those are great strategies to help students. So it's good to have it under my belt too. So when students ask me, I'm like, okay, yeah, these are the things that I learned. I'm sure that can be very stressful to do an MMI. That sounds like it makes
It
you
can,
anxious just
yeah.
thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, some students come in, applicants come in real nervous, and once they get through it, like their first or second one, they're just like, they preferred it actually versus a traditional interview. It really is more fun. It goes by so fast. Your interview day just goes like super fast through it, and by the time that you know it, you're like, wow, I answered like that many questions about myself in just a short amount of time. It just shows you what you can accomplish.
Right. And then it puts the pressure off too, because it's not all eyes on you all the time.
Exactly.
Very cool. All right. Well, I don't see any questions in the chat. I guess we'll do one last call before we end our session here. And please don't forget to complete that post-event survey.
And if anybody has like questions, maybe if you have something specific to my programs that I have here, I can put in my email in the chat. So you can email me if you have any questions. I'll just make sure I put it to everyone. And I have the physician assistant and physical therapy program. If you have questions about some of the other programs that we have here at Rosalind Franklin, you can email this one. And that's the grad.admissions@rosalindfranklin.edu. And those are for any of the other ones. Okay, looks like, do we have a public health program? And actually, we do not have a public health program at our institution. We focus more on like for example, nursing and all of that. We do have some online programs if you want to do health administration, nutrition, lifestyle medicine. A lot of that is on our website, and I'm happy to go ahead and post that for you. So I'll get you our website link right now. You can look at all of the different types of programs that we have, but I don't believe that we have public health. So there you go. There's the website page. And for a lot of these programs too, if you're interested in applying, just make sure to read the website because some of these programs offer coupon codes, which is a discount on your application and you don't have to pay the application fee. So really you utilize the website. There's a lot of information on there and a lot of benefit for you.
Thank you so much. That was very helpful. One final call for questions before we end it. I want to make sure everyone has an opportunity. Veronica says, thank you so much for your time and telling us this information. I greatly appreciate it. We have some thank yous coming in. So yes, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And yeah, feel free to reach out whenever you're ready to apply.